What's going on, traders? Andrew O'Connell here with Pristine Capital. What a day, what a day. We are actually live right now from my parents' bathroom. I actually drove home to Long Island. My mom has a back surgery tomorrow, so I drove home at around 10 a.m. today. So I missed actually most of this crazy wild session. I did do some trading in the beginning of the day, so we'll talk about that. Well, let's really just assess the madness here. As always, quick disclaimer, nothing in the video should be construed as investment advice or recommendations. We had the S&P 500, it finished up 0.04%, basically flat on the day, although you would never know it if you were trading this intraday. We had the NASDAQ QQQ finish up 0.08%, and then we had the IWM, Dow Jones, and the ARK Innovation ETF close in the red. Although you can see from the day's ranges here, pretty much everything closed at the midpoint of the day's range. So if you were day trading through this action, you may have had like the best day of your career, or you may be just completely frustrated. I am glad that I got some trades off in the beginning of the day and then was pretty much off the desk for most of the end of the session. Volatility was mixed throughout the session. You can see the NASDAQ QQQ, the volatility was up 2.32%. Volatility also increased in the small caps, but then you can see in the Dow Jones and the SPY ETF, the volatility actually decreased. Breadth was negative across the board, and you can see the small caps only had 31% advancers. So yeah, this is no longer a market where you can just wake up in the morning, take a look at the markets, roll out of bed at 9:30 a.m. and just find something that's moving, go ahead and buy it and have great results. So that we did have that market in 2020 and 2021. One noteworthy item here from this heat map is that the semiconductors actually caught a bid today. You can see NVIDIA was up 2.47%. And then across the board, there was a lot of weakness. Like, look at this sector map. Energy was up 1.47%. And again, this is another day of price action where energy and gold miners are like the beacons of hope. And then pretty much everything else is closing on the lows or just really negative. You can see the cannabis stocks were down over 4%. KWeb was down 1.9%, the Chinese internet names. And yeah, there's just a whole lot of red on my screen. In terms of style factors, same exact deal, just a ton of red here, team. The Minvol ETF, that was actually down the most. It was down 0.71%. Now let's look at this index action. This is absolutely bonkers. Let me just pull this up. Sorry about that. If you saw that OBS screen, that probably gave you like a seizure. But let's just pull up my Thinkorswim. I only have one monitor as well, but let's pull this up. And I want the hourly chart just to show you what this was like. Now, look at where we are. Let's just assess the technical roadmap really quick. We're in this downtrend. You could literally just draw a downward trend line right here, and we're pretty much like right at that downward trend channel. And what do you know? It's 6:05, and look at this. The futures opened up just a little bit higher. My trend model is still at a -1. It flipped from -3 to -1 today, which was an incremental positive. But gosh, look at this choppy mess here. And yeah, again, this is really just a market. Obviously, the Fed is reducing the balance sheet, or is going to be beginning in May. We no longer have a QE program. So if you're one of those traders that's just kind of sitting in front of the desk, and you're like, when's the market going to moon? When are we going to moon? You really just have to look at the bigger picture context. There's nothing really in the bigger picture that says, oh my gosh, the markets are just going to go to the moon. So yeah, this is a market where you really just want to let the trades come to you, because if you're not and you're chasing, look at what we had here. This was a complete roller coaster. Look at this action. This is no joke. Basically, if you were buying into the rips, you were kind of getting eviscerated today. So yeah, very wonky action. As I zoom back out to the daily chart though, again, remember, I was driving for most of the day, so I'm just coming back in a little bit later. Sometimes it's good because you come in with a bit of a fresher perspective. We just tested lower levels. We retested 43.55. We succeeded at that level. Some dip buyers came in, and we closed towards the highs of the day. So after all of that whippy action, I would love nothing more than for us to just get a nice bounce up to 44.24 spot 25 tomorrow. We'll see if that actually happens. Right now we're trading at just around 4,400. We definitely could initiate a squeeze if we start moving to the upside. So yeah, into tomorrow's session, I did add some exposure. So let's take a look at the trades that I put on. And these were 2 trades that were from the Pristine Capital weekend watch list. And again, in this kind of market environment, is this where you can just like roll up and just like roll the bones and hit some winners? No, you really have to have your preparation down. And that's really what we've mastered every single weekend. We're doing our preparation, we're making our watch list, and we're laying out these trade ideas. So I got long AIG at 9:35 a.m. and I also got long SBLK at 9:47 a.m. Let's take a look at both of these setups, and I'm actually going to pull these up in TradingView. Let me just pull this up on my laptop right now. Let me just see if this even looks good from here. My apologies. Yeah, and I appreciate everyone that's watching these videos. You guys are all awesome. I love the support. And let's see if this works for you. Okay, AIG. Now check this out here. AIG, again, this is one of our weekend watch list names. And you can see I have my trigger level set right here, my stop out point, my target, and my reward to risk ratio. We hit the trigger, so I went ahead and entered. That's the best thing. Once you have a bunch of trading plans set up for the trading week, you no longer have to think about, oh my gosh, is the market going to gap up? Is it going to gap down? You know, you don't really have to think about all these on the fly things, you know, whatever. You can literally just allow the price action of the stocks to get you in and out. What I really liked about AIG, and I shared this over the weekend, is that we have these silver ants, which does appear that there's some sort of accumulation going on. Remember, this is an insurance company, and interest rates are actually moving higher. So I really like this setup for AIG. And I think this name and this group, the insurance companies, it is so under the radar. Something like energy companies, that's at this point, it's so saturated. Pretty much everyone on FinTwit is now just like suddenly falling in love with those names. This is definitely something that's a little bit more under the radar. And then the other trade that I took was SBLK. And again, I took both of these in really like the first 15-20 minutes of the session. SBLK, fantastic setup, really like this one. And what I love about it is check out what it did very early in the day. It had a very nice shakeout. So I'm going to pull up this 5-minute chart. Yeah, look at what we did here. So we had a big shakeout candle earlier in the day, and then we zoomed higher. And once we got above this prior high from this red candle, I knew, okay, everyone that sold into that shakeout, now they're suddenly out of position. So that's really where I entered this thing. I was like, all right, we shook out to the downside. Let's do it. Let's run all the stops. So yeah, this one ended up being a nice trade. And what I did is I had to run off the desk. Like I said, I was driving to New York. All I did was I put my stops into my trading platform. I hard-coded them. And I was like, there's probably some algo that's going to literally just like steal my stop here. But, you know, if it happens, it happens. I can literally go away from the desk and my risk is covered because I have my stops in place. That's the beauty of trading. You can sit at the desk 9 hours a day. You could sit at your desk 15 hours a day and lose money. Or you could just put in some preparation time over the weekend, get yourself set up for success, and you can literally go away for half the trading day and it's not going to cause you any harm. So yeah, those are the 2 trades that I put on. Let's take a look at some areas of the market that are kind of standing out. Let's go through these real quick. We have play, and this is Dave & Buster's. Put in a nice green candle. We're approaching the top of value. I'm noticing just a theme with these travel names, like for instance. This one already a little bit extended, not going to lie, but we are approaching those prior highs here. And look at the up volume on these 3 green candles. So definitely looking good. Let's take a look at Airbnb as well. Airbnb, this kind of got sold off at the growth stocks. Let's actually pull up some of those. And yeah, this is definitely a tale of 2 tapes. If you're being too stubborn and you're only going for the growth names, you're sort of missing out and you're missing the plot here. Yeah, CrowdStrike was even down today. Upstart, this is a name I've been trading pretty frequently. I actually sold some puts on this one last week and made some money on this one. This one traded down 1.08%. And really the problem is, and I'll leave off here because I don't want this to be too long of a video. Again, I appreciate you all for tuning in. Definitely hit the like button on this video. Subscribe to the channel as well. these 10-year treasury futures, these have to catch a bid. Again, the Qs finished out flat today, and the 10-year treasury futures were red. If these 10-year treasury futures bounce, that's where I see a high likelihood Qs getting a vicious rip higher. And I think we've already paved the way for that move today, team. Like, look at this. In the Qs, did we put in a red candle or a green candle? Green candle. Did we shake a bunch of players out? Absolutely shook a bunch of players out. So yeah, I think if we can see some of that treasury strength, maybe we get, just yet another squeeze. Other than that, though, the technical roadmap is definitely pointing to the downside. So again, what I'm going to leave you with is this is certainly a market where you want to be doing your preparation and defining your risk before you're entering. Definitely not a market environment where you want to be doing the Monday morning quarterback and just kind of fishing around for trades throughout the trading session. All right, everyone, that about does it for this market recap video. Again, thank you so much for tuning in this, not gonna lie, pretty awkward location to be doing this video. You guys are all awesome, and I'll see you all tomorrow.